At the heart of the Shambhala teachings lies a profound principle: compassion. This sacred quality is not only essential for one's spiritual evolution, but is also the key to unlocking the path to Shambhala, both as a physical realm and a state of mind. The journey toward enlightenment, as taught in the wisdom of Shambhala, cannot be completed without embodying true compassion for oneself and others. Compassion leads to selflessness, dissolves the ego, and opens the way to ultimate spiritual liberation. Compassion as the path to Shambhala. Compassion is seen as one of the most powerful forces in the Shambhala teachings, acting as the vehicle that transports the seeker from the realm of ignorance and attachment into the light of wisdom and clarity. The Shambhala kingdom, often described as a utopia of peace and harmony, represents the culmination of this compassionate way of life. To reach Shambhala, one must cultivate compassion not just as an emotion, but as a way of being. In the teachings of Shambhala, compassion is the bridge that connects all living beings, transcending differences and dissolving boundaries. It is only through compassionate understanding that one can overcome the internal struggles of greed, anger, and pride, the very barriers that prevent entry into the sacred kingdom. By living with compassion, a seeker mirrors the virtues of the enlightened beings who reside within Shambhala. Stories of enlightened beings and their compassion. Throughout the mystical lore of Shambhala, there are stories of enlightened beings who embodied compassion in its purest form. One such story tells of a Bodhisattva, a being who reached the gates of Shambhala but chose to turn back to help others who were still struggling on the path. Rather than seeking personal enlightenment, the Bodhisattva devoted their life to aiding others, showing that true liberation comes from helping those around you. Another tale speaks of a compassionate master who lived on the outskirts of Shambhala. Known for his wisdom, the master would often help lost travelers, providing them with teachings that guided them toward inner peace and harmony. But those who arrived with selfish intent or without compassion were gently turned away, for the master knew that the way to Shambhala was a path of the heart, not just the intellect. These stories emphasize the selflessness that defines the enlightened beings who serve as guides on the path to Shambhala. Their compassion for all sentient beings illustrates the transformative power of kindness and the role it plays in spiritual awakening. The importance of selflessness on the path to enlightenment. Selflessness is inseparable from compassion in the Shambhala teachings. As the seeker progresses on the spiritual path, they come to understand that enlightenment is not a personal achievement, but a collective awakening. The more one lets go of their ego and embraces the suffering and joy of others, the closer they come to true enlightenment. Shambhala's teachings emphasize that spiritual growth is impossible without selflessness. The ego, with its desires and attachments, creates a barrier between the seeker and spiritual liberation. Compassion, on the other hand, requires the dissolution of this ego. By living for others, by sharing in their burdens and their happiness, one slowly dismantles the false self and uncovers the true nature of reality, one that is interconnected and unified. The selflessness required on the path to Shambhala is not just about giving to others in physical terms, but about seeing others as oneself. It is an understanding that we are all part of the same fabric of existence, and by serving others, we serve the whole. This realization is key to attaining the wisdom of Shambhala. Compassion as the key to Shambhala. In the final analysis, the teachings of Shambhala make it clear: compassion is not merely a virtue, but the very essence of the path to enlightenment. It is through compassion that we transform our inner world, healing the wounds of ignorance and selfishness, and open ourselves to the greater reality of Shambhala, both as a spiritual destination and a state of consciousness. The road to Shambhala is one that each of us must walk with a heart full of compassion. By practicing selflessness, by understanding the interconnectedness of all beings, and by living with empathy and kindness, we prepare ourselves for the spiritual journey. In this way, Shambhala is not just a hidden kingdom we seek, but a state of peace, wisdom, and love that resides within each of us, waiting to be awakened. Through compassion, we find not only Shambhala, but our true selves.